So, welcome to Wine About It Wednesday, where again, we are not complaining about anything, but we are having a toast. I got my little Dressage at Devon cup, which always brings back really great memories of a wonderful time at Devon and, when we could go to horse shows. So that's always great. It's been like quite the week. We had Allie Brock here for a clinic, and that was awesome. I had a couple of poor little staff, one with a dog bite in the hospital, and he's better. He's okay. But my head groom, she is, I don't think she's watching because she's in the hospital with she's got some, real issues with her pancreas. So A2, I don't think you'll be watching, but we miss you and we hope you get back soon. So yeah, tonight is a big deal because I'm doing my first Zoom lecture for the Academy tonight. So that's really exciting. We've got 300 members already in, a little bit over 300. And if you're feeling left out, I said this before, if you're feeling left out, you can join the mini course. You can even just sign up and see the lecture tonight. So we're definitely making it, easy and available for everybody. We want as many people to, create a great like-minded community of, great dressage riding. So tonight the lecture is about, the principles of developing a horse with the ideas of strength and skill. So Charles DeComfy has been my mentor for, a long time. And so many of these ideas are, what he has passed down to me, what I, attempt to every day bring to my horses. So that'll be, just a lot of fun. I already wrote up my big dry erase board. I've already got my notes. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to talk about, just the daily vocabulary of what we should be doing all day when we ride, what things we should be thinking about, how you can really develop your own horse. Even if it's like not a great mover, like a lot of our horses don't look that great. Like, don't look at them on the lunge line because they don't look very good. And then, you get on them and you put them together and they become kind of special. So yeah, we're going to talk about that and how, as you build the horse up the levels, how you can develop his musculature, how you can develop him, in his skeleton, how you can actually change the way the horse functions in its joints. We don't have $1 million to go out and buy an amazing mover, so we have to make them. So we're just, chipping away at it every day. And tonight I'm going to share a lot of the principles that we follow. Again, Charles DeComfy has been a huge part of my education, and I love to train every day with Charles in mind. I wish I could sit in the chair because every time I hear his voice I think I ride better, because just to really understand the science of riding I think is a really big deal. And that doesn't have anything to do with talent or feel or having $1 million to buy a horse. That's just doing good, doing right by your horse, taking the time to build him up and develop him. And, every horse can get better. So that was really one of the real reasons we wanted to start the Academy, is to, have everybody feel like they can really contribute and train their own horses. Wendy was asking, can we make changes in an older horse? And she also liked my shirt, so thank you, Romp, for my cute shirt. And Wendy, yes, it's always like easier to start, I think, with a young horse because you have like a totally clean slate. And I always imagine like when I start to train my horses, it's like a big giant blackboard. And I start to write with my chalk, like what I want them to learn, you know, how I want them to bend, you know, how I want them to come on the bit. And the horse always remembers like what they learn first. So 100%, if we can put the right stuff on them in the beginning, I think, you know, that's incredibly important. It is completely possible to change horses. I've gotten horses that I should actually show some pictures because we're actually working on this because there's some horses that you will not believe how different they move or like what their necks look like. We actually make it a thing here to take pictures of the horses every couple of months because, you know, muscles don't lie. And if there's a dip behind the saddle and a little tiny skinny neck, you know, you need to maybe change what you're doing. So we like to take pictures probably every 3 months, you know, just to make sure like the right things are building in the right places. Cause it's also hard when you see the horse every day. But I remember, when I was riding Body for Sandy Stavropoulos, and one day I was like, I think her neck is bigger. And she goes, I thought that too when I was brushing her. You know, so sometimes that's fun too to, you know, you're kind of both thinking it and it's actually happening. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight in the lecture and how something I also want some of you guys to think about is like the stages of training. Charles always talks about there's a rehabilitative piece. That's the first stage. And that's restoring the balance on the horse with us up there. The second phase, which I kind of think lasts, I mean, balance is a big deal for me all the time, but then the second phase, the therapeutic stage, when you really work to make the horse ambidextrous, that lasts a very long time, and that's where all our exercises are. And we'll talk about that later in the lecture. You know, what is a skill that you're teaching the horse and what is strength that you're building. And then all of that with the restorative, the rehabilitative, leading into the therapeutic, all gets into athletic development. And that's when, you know, people will say like, oh my God, I didn't think he could trot like that. Or, wow, where'd that neck come from? You know, he's so much more horse, you know, and that's through that last phase of that athletic development where you teach the horse to amplify his gaits. So we're going to talk about that all tonight on the Academy. So if you want to come, you can certainly sign up. Catherine, I'm sure, will be ready to help anybody. But what I really wanted to make a cheers to is coaches. You know, Allie, she gave a really great interview, and I thank her for that because I kind of wrangled her into it. I'm like, hey, how about you talk to us on Team Tate TV? And she was like, I knew that was coming. So that was great that she agreed to doing that. And what I love about, I mean, I love a lot of things about Allie, but one of the greatest things about her is like her deep education of, we just figure out the answers. You know, no one knows all the answers, and it's a little bit about, you know, slowing down, figuring out, and truly teaching the horse. I rode 5 horses every day with her, so yeah, I go through each horse, like what we worked on. So Gideon, you know, a lot of you know the super pony. And one of the big things I work on with him is that I want him to be, you know, shorter in his body, more under behind, taking more weight down like the back of his heels. And so I've been doing a lot of groundwork. I've been teaching him, you know, more piaffe in hand, and, you know, lots of turn in the forehand. So for those of you who are in the academy, Gideon does that a lot. Claudio came and helped me quite a bit this winter with the ideas of how to incorporate the groundwork, and I needed to change Gideon's shape. So he needs to take more weight and get shorter and sit down more behind. So I've been working on rein back piaffe, rein back canter, canter in place with soft reins. I've just been like exhausting every option. And, I love it where Allie just wants to completely like break it down completely. And we're at the halt and we just trained him to like pedestal with his hind legs. Like we didn't want the front legs to go back. But it was so much about like put his hind legs farther under his body. And so on Sunday, which was the first day of the clinic, we worked him twice. Not hard, I was in the halt most of the time. We gave him a cue. We made his hind legs move farther under his body, petted him, walked away. He really like clicked into it. We were laughing that he's the pony genius. And then we worked him 3 times on Monday. Very short, once first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, and right before she left. To just like teach him. Like it wasn't really about, the strength. He's strong, like he's ready. What he doesn't always make right is the content. And so we totally broke it down, really helped him figure it out, and again, I spoke about this in another live of you've got to teach the horse to seek the yes. I don't know if Tiffany's on here tonight, but Tiffany Moritz, she was a difficult mare to train, and Bruiser was just like, no, all the time. No, and then sometimes like, hell no. So Tiffany started to clicker train her, and she taught her to seek the yes. Go touch that. Yes, and stand square, so it was really fun to kind of really break things down and really train the horses. And then I was able to incorporate it the next day completely by myself with nobody on the ground. I, made the cue and put my body in the right position, and his little hind feet were like right up under my seat bones. So that was really fun. Montana was wonderful. Allie was really impressed with how much shorter he's gotten in his body and much more active. So we worked a lot on pirouettes and passage. I've been doing a ton of groundwork with him and changing the shape again in the piaffe, which has changed everything. On the second day, Darby, and I think Kaki's watching. Yep, hey Kaki. Darby was awesome. And it was one of those lessons where, Allie just helped me, again, break the canter zigzag down, because Darby is like extremely enthusiastic and loves flying changes. Like that's his favorite thing in the whole world. So this whole like sideways thing is kind of annoying him. So we just broke it down. We worked on how my seat should be. It was great. Apollo was amazing, and I will share videos because I'm looking for his old videos of how he looked before, and then we're going to share some new videos because he's amazing. And Denali is also, I kept hearing Allie was like, because he's changed a lot too. So that's really exciting. He's our sleeper, so we're excited to bring him out. I'm looking at some of the questions. I love the concept of bringing the chest back, and I love hearing about creating shortness as one of my horses is a bit of a stretch limo. Yes, we, this last week on the Academy, I had one really good video of Isaac to make his neck like longer. And we also had a good demo of Montana I guess Isaac too, to like bring the chest back and let the neck go long, So sometimes you want to make the horse wait for you in the shoulders so you can drive the hind legs up there and still make the neck long. Susan, I cannot figure out how to make people's legs longer. And Kelly is the president of Apollo's fan club, so she says, of course, he was amazing. So, yes. So during Allie's interview, we talked a little bit about some books. And so I brought some out because I got them all out getting ready for my lecture. So I was going to show everybody a couple of good books. So one of the first ones that Richard found somewhere, I don't even know where he found it, Training of the Horse and Rider. I don't know if you guys can see that, by Stecken. It is, I mean, it's a great book. It's one of the classics. I love it. Like simple, but you know, at the end of the day, everything in dressage is like simple concepts, but really, really hard to do. There's some people who feel like, oh, you know, maybe the academy is too advanced, and it's all very, you know, we all start with the basics. I mean, that was with all my lessons with Allie too, that, you know, it all, the basics have to be correct, and then the rest of the stuff you do comes together. When you are referring, Kayla has a question. When you are referring to making the body shorter, do you mean bringing them into a proper frame, or what do you mean by that? Okay, so you got to have this image of, we want to make from the wither back to the tail, we want to make that shorter. And then from the wither out to the bit, we want to make that longer. So sometimes we talk about, I want to have the horse Grand Prix behind the saddle and like third level in front of the saddle. And what's hard about that is a lot of times we see, you know, Grand Prix in front of the saddle and then like second level behind the saddle. So you want to always make sure that you can properly, you know, bow up the horse's back. So you bring the hocks more under the body so that his whole hind bascule becomes like, his back gets rounder, so his hind legs can come more under. And then you want to always encourage that neck to be sort of long and out in front of you. How would you get a mare that has huge gaits but slightly sickled get their legs underneath correctly? Elizabeth, I would probably do a ton of transitions. I would also do some school trot. That is in the academy. Yeah, lots of different, actually we're going to break down, not tonight, but in another Zoom lecture for the apprentice and trainers, we're going to talk about what each exercise does. So what does the shoulder in do? Why would I do that? What body part does that help? So that you can really kind of create your own personal program. I really take it really seriously to be my horse's physical therapist. So, you know, each one has a different body, and I think it's important to understand that and then teach the horse how to learn to be different. You know, horses that are really high and tight in the neck and fast have to slow down and put their neck really long. Horses that want to be long need to learn how to shorten up. So I'm going to go through a couple more books because that was a question from the last one. So this is another one of this is one of the Bibles, the Gymnasium of the Horse, Gustav Steinbreck. This is amazing because, I mean, 1884. Mind blown. It's all still completely relevant. One of my faves, The Athletic Development of the Horse, the Dressage Horse from Charles de Comfy. Really good. Lots of different, I mean, and you can, to Jessica, with pleasure to see such good riding talent. 1993. So that was a long time ago. But you can see here I've got like, it's highlighted, notes in the margins, highlights and pen marks. I've ridden it. I've read this like over and over and again. One of my favorites, Kelly Wachter and I were laughing about this. Ta-da! Horses Are Made to Be Horses. Wonderful book. Very easy to read, entertaining. I might even quote it later in the lecture. And then my personal Bible, I've used it so much that you can't even tell what this is. And another one from Charles. To Jessica Joe, one of my very favorite riders, wishing great riding success, well deserved. 2002. So fun. So this is Dressage Principles Illuminated, the best book in the world. Give you a little, I don't know if you can read it because the camera's all messed up, but Dressage Principles Illuminated, the best. Also, notes in the margin. Oh, I just saw Eula in here. Where's he? Oh, there's Eula Dalosh. Oh, there's my coach. Oh my God, look at that seat. Now that's a down seat. So those are some of my favorite books. And there was one other question I thought was interesting that Allie, that someone had asked Allie, and it actually really relieved me because she was saying, someone was like, oh, do you do anything special before you ride, And she's like, yes, I don't leave my bed until she stretches out her hamstrings. And I love that because I'm the same. Like, I stretch every day. I do yoga. Right now I'm helping with stalls in the morning. So I have a little routine, like I do stalls and then I do yoga for like 20 minutes while my first horse is getting ready. I mean, downward dog is my best friend. Lucy likes to help. Speaking of dogs, Lucy likes to help sometimes too. But I have to stretch my hips out. I have to get my back in a way that will be ready to, sit in the good way, because our seat is absolutely our communication. It's our main communication tool. So if we come with our own, tightnesses or defensiveness, or we're locked up somewhere, the horse just immediately feels that. And then, we wonder why he's pulling on this left rein. Yet our hip is super tight on that side. So I really take it seriously about, my body, feeding it well, stretching it out, making sure I'm as neutral as I can be. My hips are loose, my back is soft, my heels are down, my shoulders are in a good way. I think it's really important. We always say, from a rider's standpoint, I always tell my riders to check their rider checklist. Like, they need to know their body. They need to know what their tendencies are. They need to know how that affects their horse. Even breathing techniques can be super helpful. Susanna Van Dietz is completely amazing at that. And I hope to get her here as soon as we can all travel again. But maybe we'll just invite her on a Zoom or something. So she's just amazing. But like, even if you have kind of like an electric seat and you kind of zing up your horse, deep breathing techniques, I had to learn that on Summer. Richard says he has the Swedish Dressage Bible book. That is also true. We talk about horses over dinner, so that's how much of dorks that we are. But back to, taking care of your body. I think it's really important that we all, and something I'll talk a little bit about in the lecture tonight is, when we work out, how we get sore. And there's kind of a good sore, and then there's sort of a bad sore. And when we ask our horses to start doing these different movements, and something that's, like if it's a horse that wants to have its neck super high up, and you're going to ask it to really go round and soft and bring its back up, like that can even sometimes be painful for horses. And then they, feel tension and react accordingly to that. And then we think they're, being belligerent and don't want to do it. And when it's like their muscles just need to be trained. And that's what I've always loved about the whole idea of strength and skill, which I'll go into again more tonight. So I hope you guys will join me. But that you really need to teach the horse the skill and then build the strength by practicing it properly. And Charles would always say practice does not make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So I've always loved that. And I'm really excited to share tonight. you know, how his philosophies and what was passed down from his teachers to him, he has passed down to me, and it has really made a significant difference in my training program. We have many sound, happy horses here that they all kind of just learn all the things. And, you know, you just figure out with their bodies what they need. You figure out in your body, you know, how you need to do it. And it was really great again with Allie here, you know, to just break things down. We did a lot of stuff at the walk, you know, and it's not because it was hot. It was just like we needed to teach the horse. You know, I always say, and I'm sure I get this from Charles, that the content really has to be right. Like you want to make sure when you're building that skill and you're actually educating that horse, that the horse learns, like when he does it properly, the pressure has to come off. And that's a leg aid, that's the rein aid, that's even the seat. There's so many things about, you know, building the horse up that then all of a sudden their job becomes easier. Courtney just said, she's like, preach. Building the strength through proper training is so important. She's one of our team masseuses. So that's, and she's always saying that's why your horses are so happy in their bodies. Well, that's great. Thank you, Courtney. And it's about, you know, really understanding your horse and his body and what exercises help improve what. So you can really be your horse's own physical therapist as well as your own. Like I do a lot of my own work on my own body every day. And it was really cool. It was sort of like, I kind of was like relieved that Allie does the exact same thing, because everybody thinks good riders just roll out of bed and they just like look good in the saddle. And we have all worked hard. We continue to work hard. I still ride without stirrups, you know, which is, I think is one of the new videos on the Academy with Feej, how to properly do that. But like really also, if you want to ride well, you also have to build your own strength and skills, to figure out, you know, what are your tendencies in like one, you know, a lot of times you can tell old injuries just by watching someone ride. Like, oh, you know, what's with your shoulder? Like, oh, I did that in high school. It was a volleyball accident or something. So things stay in your body. So it's really important we don't hold on to those things. We really work on neutralizing our own bodies so that we don't bring our baggage to the horses, because it's our job to help them carry us. Because again, like Charles always says, we're sitting on the most weak part of their body and we're holding on to the most sensitive spot. So we have to really honor that and help the horse learn to carry us and build up his body through teaching him skills, building the strength, and you might just be surprised what happens. So here's a toast to all the good coaches out there. I'm so glad so many of you joined me. This is our thing on Wednesday nights. We're not going to whine and complain, but we're going to have a little toast to the good things in life. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope I see most of you at the Zoom lecture tonight about developing your horse through strength and skill. So see you guys later. Thanks for joining. Bye.